Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
Overcast skies across Metro Detroit, but we are in for some snow just a few hours from now. We'll be watching that as we come to you live. Good to have you with us here for Local 4 News at 5. Coming to you today from one of the most exciting days every year, the auto show, the Monday of press previews with Kimberly Gill. I'm Devin Skillion at Cobo. Great day around here.
A great day. There are fantastic cars here, and we've got a lot to share with you today throughout the week. But first, we want to get to Ben. He's following some snow that's on the way, and there's also a winter weather advisory out. Hi, Ben.
Hey, Devin and Kim. Yeah, we picked up over 18 inches of snow this season so far. Most of it has been in 2016, and this really is going to be our first major system of the new year. And you can see in the forecast map that there will be places to pick up more than 3 inches of snow by noon tomorrow, and it's really going to be that morning commute that's going to be a headache tomorrow. Winter weather advisories start tonight at 11, and they run through midday, at least on our side of the state. You see they're going to be extended a little further than that on the west side of the state. We've missed out on some of the worst of the snow. It's going to stay in the UP, but nevertheless, we are anticipating to see measurable snow tomorrow. Through the rest of the evening, we'll stay dry through about 10 o'clock, and it looks like that snow is going to start about 11 p.m. or midnight tonight. Steady temperatures, which will actually be rising overnight, but that is not really going to impact on how much snow we're expecting. We'll break that down for you in your 4-zone forecast in just a few minutes. And remember, to find your zone, head to our weather page at clickondetroit.com. Devin and Kim.
All right, Ben. Well, let's get back to what's been going on here at Cobo. Today's been full of big reveals. No announcements bigger, though, than the 2017 North American Car and Truck and Utility Vehicles of the Year.
The Chevy Bolt EV beat out the Genesis G90 and the Volvo S90 for the prestigious Car of the Year award. The Chrysler Pacifica beat out a Jaguar and the Mazda for the newly created Utility Vehicle of the Year.
Yep, first time ever for that category. And over in the truck category, it was the Honda Ridgeline taking home the top honors. That beat out the Ford F-Series Super Duty and the Nissan Titan. There you go. The Honda Ridgeline is the truck of the year.
The North American International Auto Show is about hot new cars and you, right?
Exactly right. It's also about something inevitable, and that is the massive change that we're watching right now in the auto industry, dealing with gridlock, dealing with mobility. Mobility is the watchword around here right now. Our business editor, Rod Maloney, live to tell us the big story about this year's second show, I guess you'd call it, Rod, Auto Mobility.
Or maybe the heart of the show, Devin, because it's all about this, autonomous vehicles. And like it or not, the world has changed on us. And in fact, it's gotten awfully gridlocked in a lot of places like, say, Boston, Chicago, LA, New York, that kind of thing. And Bill Ford has sort of become the grandfather of this movement to deal with that for the car companies.
I was traveling the world back then, Rod, and I was seeing gridlock in cities all around the world, and I said, this can't continue.
So now, the industry and the North American International Auto Show itself are all in on trying to figure out the landscape here. The DADA is using the entirety of Cobo downstairs, that's Michigan Hall, to showcase all the new and fascinating approaches to the mobility problem. Bill Ford says this is a very, very good thing.
We're going to need all hands on deck for this, and Ford can't do it all ourselves, and we shouldn't try to. We're going to need really smart entrepreneurs. We're going to need the best and the brightest technology companies to work with.
Longtime auto analyst Chubba Chetta says, let's not get carried away with all the bells and whistles of this new automotive notion.
I think nobody knows where the car companies are going to be in the future. Is the autonomous function in a car going to be an option like a navigation system, or is it actually going to be, is a car just going to be a vehicle for an autonomous piece of software or technology?
But he says it is decidedly our future. And even though auto shows are supposed to be about shiny new fenders and great design, this is a future in which Detroit must pay heed.
Cars are mechanical things. That's the way what they've always been, and they've been transforming slowly into partially electronic devices, and going forward the electronic part's going to dominate, and that's changing the nature of this show.
And indeed it is. So we have the autonomous vehicle that everybody is watching, and it's of course a balancing act. And that's something we'll be talking about on Local 4 News at 6 o'clock. How do you balance the business of actually selling stuff to people who want to drive it and then deal with this mobility? We'll check it out then. Back to you.
Really a great question, Rod. Bill Ford really kind of gave me my baptism on mobility a couple of years ago when he told me that 33% of the traffic at any given time in America, in the major cities around the world, a third of the traffic is just people looking to park.
That's amazing.
And that's what's really launched this entire sort of study of the way we get around. Toyota, by the way, introduced its 8th generation Camry today, and it comes with a very new, very sleek look, I think.
Yeah, it's good looking. The new Camry has a lowered roof and hood and rides a little bit closer to the ground than previous Camrys. Along with a new look, the newest Camry also features pedestrian detection, among other safety features.
And let's move over to Lexus. The Lexus luxury line revealed the 5th generation of its LS model this morning, twin-turbo V6 that can outperform a lot of V8s from its competitors, actually.
Yeah, the new LS is lighter and has an array of new safety technology. Look for it to go on sale a little bit later this year.
Looks like something out of a Marvel comic book.
It's slick.
Slick, yeah. Detroit might be hosting an auto show, but BMW today showed off a new motorcycle. The K1600B is powered by a 6-cylinder engine. This is going to go on sale this summer.
Yeah, it's like a little car. The USA is BMW's second largest motorcycle market after Germany. BMW is also planning to bring an electric scooter to market sometime later this year.
That's pretty slick. All right, don't forget, hope you'll join us tonight. Special episode of Dateline Detroit. AAA, all about autos. We'll make sure you're ready to roll with this year's auto show that's coming up tonight here on Local 4 as we'll come to you here at Cobo at 10 p.m.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. All right, moving on to other news tonight. Charges in the case of a young man gunned down at a Detroit gas station.
24-year-old Javon Perry died after 2 men approached him at a gas station on Gratiot, and one of them suddenly opened fire. Priya Mann standing by live with the latest charges, and Priya, those include a charge of first-degree murder
and felony firearm. The families for both defendants were in court today. Some were crying, others visibly shaken. This was the first time they've seen their loved one since those 2 men turned themselves in following the shooting death of a young Detroit father. 22-year-old Derek Everson Jr. and 23-year-old Kyrell Alonzo both faced a judge after turning themselves in to police. The pair are accused of killing 24-year-old Javon Perry last Thursday in a gas station robbery. The moments leading up to the shooting were captured on surveillance video and shared widely online and through the media. People flooded DPD tip lines, and within days, both men surrendered to police.
This is a murder one charge. It's about as serious as you can get. And, he turned himself in, not only for his own safety, but for safety of his family members as well, as, he's a wanted fugitive and he was being aggressively pursued by the Detroit police.
I met with him at my office on Saturday, and understanding the seriousness of the situation, from my office, he turned himself in immediately from my office to the Detroit Detention Center.
The deadly shooting happened last Thursday just after midnight. Perry had finished work when he came to the Marathon gas station to fill up at Gratiot and State Fair. Prosecutors allege Everson and Alonzo approached Perry while he was at the pump. After a brief argument, the 24-year-old tried running away. It's alleged Everson fired several shots, hitting Perry in the head. The Detroit father was killed.
And that is the victim in this matter is a young individual. The defendants are young as well, so it's an unfortunate situation across the board.
And on Saturday, the alleged getaway driver, 26-year-old Joseph Lucas, was arraigned over the weekend. All 3 defendants have been charged with first-degree murder and felony firearm. They'll be back in court at the end of the month. Reporting live from DPD headquarters, I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.
All right, Priya, elsewhere, the criminal case has been dismissed now against a grandmother who was charged in the deadly shooting of a teenager at her home.
58-year-old Lise Cox was charged with involuntary manslaughter and second-degree child abuse in December. It happened after a 13-year-old boy was killed in her home. Well, today, Cox was in court for her preliminary exam when the judge dismissed the case for lack of evidence.
Another Volkswagen executive is facing federal criminal charges this evening.
Those charges come from an emissions cheating scandal. Oliver Schmidt was VW's general manager for regulatory compliance in 2014 and early 2015. He was arrested over the weekend in Miami and faces charges of conspiracy to program vehicles to cheat on U.S. vehicle emissions tests. Schmidt was scheduled to appear in federal court today and is expected to be sent here to Detroit, where the criminal complaint was initially filed.
And that news news broke, you know it was part of a lot of conversations over here at Cobo.
Yeah, it's huge.
Well, their season ended with a bit of a thud. The Lions, I guess, can at least say that they made the playoffs as they cleaned out their lockers today. I'm not sure it was a lot of consolation.
Yeah, but that's looking on the bright side,
Yep,
I guess. Jamie Edmonds live at Ford Field tonight for the last time with how the team is reflecting on this season and looking forward to the next season. I guess you can always say that there's always next year, Jamie.
Yeah, you know, they say that a lot here in Detroit. It'll be a while before the Lions play again at Ford Field. Today, they were in Allen Park cleaning out those lockers, getting ready for the offseason. Meanwhile, the coaches are calling this now the evaluation phase.
Number one, my only goal is to win the Super Bowl, plain and simple. I mean, there's nothing else other than that.
The Lions obviously coming up short of that goal with a 26-6 loss to Seattle in the wild card game. But Caldwell says great strides were made this season.
I feel good about this team. I'm encouraged by this team, the way they fight and scratch. Certainly we're disappointed in the way it ended, but overall, this team came through some very, very difficult times.
Caldwell says the nucleus here is good with young, talented players and veterans coming into their own. Case in point, Matthew Stafford.
You know, I know what our head coach is all about. I know what our GM's about, and you know, excited about just the way this team's moving.
Golden Tate has won a Super Bowl in Seattle, and he sees the culture changing here in Detroit for the better.
But you got to be excited about where we're going. Things just feel different around here. Things just look different. We have a different mentality. We have different characters in here. We have high character guys, and we have a good foundation.
All right, so the overall feeling in the locker room was positive. They believe there was a foundation built this season on to next season. And Caldwell says he's excited to work with Bob Quinn in his second year, get some more pieces to this puzzle, and hopefully get a postseason win. Live outside Ford Field, Jamie Edmonds, Local 4.
Jalen Stringer faces charges of tampering with evidence after a West Bloomfield woman was found shot to death in a burning car. What his father says about his charges in an exclusive interview.
All right, Coco, and next, the massive manhunt for the suspected killer of an Orlando, Florida police officer and who may have tried to shoot another officer during his escape.
The new at 6.
The past few weeks have been difficult, to say the least, for Fraser residents displaced after the sinkhole.
Well, this is something I never could imagine.
You'll hear more from residents who are now moving back into their homes and trying to find a new normal.
All right, Coco, a massive manhunt underway in Florida after a police officer there was shot and killed.
Master Sergeant Deborah Clayton was killed in a Walmart parking lot this morning in Orlando. Police say Clayton was approaching 43-year-old Markeith Lloyd when Lloyd turned around and shot Clayton. Lloyd reportedly fired a shot at another officer later in the morning before fleeing the scene entirely. Now the manhunt over Lloyd is underway, and Orlando's police chief is demanding justice.
We have a lot of police resources trying to catch the suspect. Local, state, and federal authorities are all working together diligently to bring him to justice, and he will be brought to justice.
They're also offering a reward. At this time, Orlando police offering $60,000 for information that leads to Lloyd's arrest.
There are a pair of controversies today in Donald Trump's transition to the presidency.
The Senate hearings are set to start tomorrow for top Trump cabinet appointees without the usual background checks being completed on a number of them.
Yeah, controversy number 2 is sparked by late word that Mr. Trump is naming his son-in-law to a top White House post. Steve Handelsman has the latest from Capitol Hill.
Thanks. Good evening. JFK President Jack Kennedy hired his brother Bobby as U.S. Attorney General. Later in the 1960s, Congress banned that kind of nepotism. Now Donald Trump will test that ban. A top aide confirmed the president-elect is giving a top job to his son-in-law, hiring Jared Kushner, Ivanka's husband, as senior advisor. As Trump today hailed Fiat for hiring 2,000 U.S. workers and Chinese billionaire Jack Ma for selling U.S. products in China.
Yes, we had a great meeting. It's jobs. You just saw what happened with Fiat.
But jobs in the Trump cabinet are causing controversy. Not all the nominees who have hearings tomorrow and Wednesday have passed background checks.
Many have vast holdings in stocks, and very few have experience in government. So they've not been appropriately vetted.
No problem, said the Senate Republican leader.
Yeah, everybody will be properly vetted, as they have been in the past.
Jeff Sessions is up tomorrow, nominated for Attorney General. The conservative Alabama senator was rejected for a federal judgeship in 1986 after revelations he made racist remarks.
I am not a racist.
Opponents today mock claims that Sessions changed his ideology.
He has a different racist political ideology.
Other leaders disagree.
Senator Sessions is not a racist.
Trump Wednesday will finally lay out his plan to avoid family conflicts of interest.
All I can say is it's very simple, very easy.
Or complex if his children run the Trump business. Naming Kushner as a senior advisor will spark a separate fight. Experts say federal law prohibits presidents from hiring anybody in their family, period, including in-laws, even if they don't get paid. From Capitol Hill, Steve Handelsman, Local 4.
All right, Steve, back here at Cobo as it is always on this day every year. Hot inside, cold outside.
Cold outside and snow on the way. I guess this will be the first snow of the new year and the season. Let's check in with Ben. Hi, Ben.
Yeah, Kim. Yeah, just giving, the press a little taste of Michigan. What would it be without snow? And we've got plenty of it coming, especially during the drive tomorrow. Here's the snow we're tracking right now across Wisconsin and Illinois. This is not all the moisture we're expecting, but this is going to get us starting at about 11 o'clock tonight. So when we see you on Local 4 News at 11, likely we will see snow, at least in our west zone. Let's break down the totals. This is what everybody wants to see, how much we're expecting. We'll call it 2 to 3 inches generally here across the metro zone. Lower totals will be in the south. Highest totals will be in the north. So the lowest totals anywhere in the region are going to be in our south zone. Most likely 1 to 2 inches. A lot of this is going to be on the ground and done by the end of the morning commute, at least in our south zone. That's when the warmer temperatures will start taking effect and drying out some of that precipitation as well. 2 to 3 inches in our west zone. Again, higher totals in the north, and the biggest totals will be in our north zone. Right now it looks like Sanilac County will see 4+, and there could be even higher totals up towards the thumb. But again, generally in our north zone, we'll call it 3 to 4 inches, and most of that should be done before we're eating lunch tomorrow. Right now, though, we've got temperatures in the upper 20s, wind chills at 17 with that south wind at 13. We're not going to see much of a drop in temperatures. In fact, they'll actually be rising a bit as we head towards morning tomorrow. So again, about 11 o'clock tonight, we'll see that snow start. That's going to continue through the morning tomorrow. And at the end of that commute, that's when we'll pretty much see the end of the snowfall, at least for about half the area. Still seeing some lingering snow in the north zone until about lunchtime tomorrow. Warm front lifts to the north along with warmer temperatures, so anything we see fall in the second half of the day is going to be all rain. There'll be plenty of it too. Cold front kicks in, and that's really going to drop temperatures. I should say bring in the winds, not drop temperatures. Look at the wind gust we're expecting as we get into tomorrow evening. We're looking at these gusts up to 40 miles an hour plus at about the 5, 6, 7 o'clock time range, and then those gusts will start dropping off as we get later on into the nighttime hours going into Thursday. So you saw the snow totals. Now let's look at temperatures. We'll probably be around this upper 20s until we get towards morning, and that's when we'll see 32 for a morning temperature. Snow develops after 10 o'clock tonight, and it will be going through the nighttime hours tonight. 40 degrees tomorrow. That's going to be our high temperature as that snow turns to rain, and then we'll be looking for even warmer numbers over the next 7 days. 46 for that high temperature on Thursday. Temperatures do drop as we head into the upcoming weekend, but we've got more rain than snow in the forecast. That's not going to be any help to folks driving in the morning tomorrow when we're expecting that 1 to 4 inches to really make a mess of that morning commute, guys.
All right, and of course, more on it as it develops here over these next couple of hours. More news coming up, a delicate operation involving a trapped deer and ice that may or may not support the weight of the rescuers. How it ended and how the deer ended up in that dangerously cold river in the first place.
My goodness, poor fella. Also, why the Bob Lowe boat was on the move again today. We'll be right back.
On the Detroit River today. A scene that we just don't usually get to see very often, but there it is from Sky 4. This was a trip that was made at one time. It took 81 years, the life of the Bob Lowe boat, and it was back at it again today.
Yeah, our Sky 4 caught the SS St. Clair being moved to the Riverside Marina this afternoon. The boat's 81 years of sailing is the nation's longest recorded run for a boat in history. Beautiful.
Yeah, cool. Well, news from across Michigan today. The University of Michigan announced today it is changing the name of its academic medical center.
Yeah, out with the old, in with the new, so to speak. The new name, which is Michigan Medicine. It replaces the old name, University of Michigan Health Systems. The new name, Michigan Medicine, took effect today. The university says it's a better reflection of the center's three-part mission of delivering patient care, education, and research.
Drivers across the state can expect to pay a little more at the pump soon.
Yeah, we told you this was coming. That's because gasoline prices in Michigan have risen 15 cents. The average price for regular unleaded is about $2.51 per gallon. That's according to AAA. It's about 59 cents higher than this time last year. Yeah. In the Detroit area, prices were up 12 cents a gallon. AAA says the rising prices are largely a reaction to an OPEC agreement to cut oil production this year.
New at 5:30.
Chevy starts the day with the car of the year and then reveals the vehicle they hope will dominate the crossover SUV market. I've got that coming up.
New research on breast cancer screening suggests doctors may be too quick to diagnose and treat the disease. Is there a middle ground? Dr. Frank McGeorge reports from Henry Ford Hospital.
The father of a 19-year-old man charged with tampering with evidence after a West Bloomfield woman was found shot to death in a burning car, speaking only to us.
And the only thing missing is Jalen. He's my go-to guy.
James Stringer tells us what unfolded that night and why he says his son is not guilty.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5:30 starts now.
What's it like to have your son locked up in connection with a murder?
Tonight we hear from the father of a teenager accused of helping another boy kill a mother in West Bloomfield. And it tops Local 4 News at 5:30. It's a case with a lot of questions. A West Bloomfield woman shot in her car while sitting there listening to music and then burned.
That's what police say happened to Diana Pesserel back in December. 18-year-old Deshawn Smith is facing a number of charges, including open murder in her death. 19-year-old Jalen Stringer is accused of helping Smith cover up the crime.
Stringer's father spoke exclusively with our Coco McAvoy today about the charges his son is facing, and Coco is with us now with more on what he had to say. Coco?
Devin and Kimberly, Jalen Stringer is accused of tampering with evidence and being an accessory after the fact in the murder of Diana Pesserel. But his father, James Stringer, says his son was a focused college student and that he does not want his son to go to prison for a crime that his childhood friend committed.
I have to get my son and my household exonerated.
James Stringer's son, Jalen, is sitting in jail after police say he helped Deshawn Smith cover up the murder of Diana Pesserel, found shot dead in a burning car just walking distance from the Stringer house.
What this guy did, he fessed up to him after 3 in the morning. It wasn't an hour later the police came knocking on my door. He didn't have a chance to react.
Stringer says the police immediately arrested Smith from their house and asked to speak to his son.
My son informed them at that time that he hid a gun in the heat register.
He says Smith also put clothes in their washing machine.
I freaked out at that because they're telling me it's a dead body and all this stuff is just not making no sense.
Prosecutors, though, believe there's enough evidence to prove Jalen was an accessory to Pesserel's murder.
My son ain't the kind of guy that would know this dude did all of this stuff and let him get away with it, nor even assist him.
Now Jalen faces serious prison time.
It hurts because I know his life is coming to a work stoppage.
And it's up to the court to decide who will be held responsible in this unspeakable crime.
My heart goes out to the Pesserel family. I haven't had a chance to grieve for them because of this nightmare thrust upon me and my family.
And Stringer faces a total of 15 years in prison, and he and Smith will have preliminary hearings at the end of the month. Reporting live this evening, I'm Coco McAvoy, Local 4.
All right, Coco. Well, the man accused of killing 5 people at the Fort Lauderdale airport back on Friday appeared in federal court today.
26-year-old Esteban Santiago is facing charges of carrying out violence at an airport and killing with a firearm. In November, Santiago told the FBI the government was controlling his mind and making him watch ISIS videos. He was put on a watch for mental illness but was released shortly thereafterward. Santiago's brother in Puerto Rico says it was a call for help and that the government failed him.
They have responsibility in that. They knew it, that he have psychological problems.
Aside from those generalities, though, police say they are still searching for the actual motive. Prosecutors in the case say they are going to seek the death penalty. Well, ahead of tomorrow's Flint Water Summit in Chicago, the American Civil Liberties Union is urging state and federal regulators to slow down before they declare that Flint's water is now safe.
During today's press conference, the union's executive director said the state has not provided up-to-date results of water testing in Flint's school district or about lead reduction efforts in all of Flint's school buildings. Following Tuesday's summit in Chicago, officials are scheduled to appear in Flint to summarize the most recent water testing results.
Well, Microsoft is moving its local offices to downtown Detroit.
This is exciting news. Microsoft's local offices are currently in Southfield, but according to multiple real estate resources, I should say, the computer giant is expected to move to a Dan Gilbert-owned building in downtown Detroit. At this time, it's unclear when the move will be made official, although Gilbert says he plans next week to announce a new 50,000 square foot tenant for downtown.
That's a big footprint. He said that, in fact, yesterday here at Cobo. Yeah. Well, in Connecticut, a deer that was trapped on a frozen river for hours has finally been rescued.
Yeah, this poor fella here. Take a look. Officers say coyotes were chasing the deer. When it fell into the water, the deer managed to crawl onto the ice, but ended up falling and not being able to move. The ice was too thin to stand on, so it was difficult for crews to rescue the deer, as you see there, but eventually they were able to tie the deer up in a towel and drag it off the ice.
Kind of had to hide her eyes, so they didn't know what they were doing, and it finally worked out. That was a long ordeal. Well, it's been a big day for Chevrolet here at the auto show, especially when it comes to an SUV that we're happy to say is made right down the road in Lansing.
Steve Garagiola is live with a look at the new Traverse, and Steve, it's, I'll say, getting beefier.
Hey, this place was really jammed this morning and was a lot of excitement. You know, it's really not enough to be just high-tech and cool and flashy anymore. It's not enough to be just dependable, sturdy, and safe. Today's family car buyer wants the whole package, and Chevy really believes they have delivered with their all-new 2018 Traverse. The concept for the new Chevy Traverse is simple. How does a family use their vehicle on the road? Mostly they need space. Big space for cargo, lots of spaces for phones, change, keys, sunglasses, and everything else. 24 storage compartments in all. And of course, space for people. A third row with legroom. And easy access with what Chevy calls smart slide seats. It's all about answering customer needs.
It's been designed with amazing customer insights. The vehicle it's replacing is 9 years old, and it's incredible the team has been able to keep this momentum. So we have a very loyal customer base, and now we're launching a vehicle which we think ticks all the boxes. So it's an exciting time.
And the 2018 family is about technology. It has Wi-Fi, surround vision cameras, USB ports throughout the vehicle. Chevy goes all in the all-important crossover SUV market.
You know, the whole segment is about 1 million vehicles a year in sales, so it's a huge, huge segment. And so, you know, we really wanted to not just compete, but to win. And that's why we've gone above and beyond.
Hey, you know the thing that sold me? These seats that give you leg room. When you're 6'3" with long legs, you want some leg room. And they're really selling the space for cargo and for passengers, leg room and space for everybody. For good-sized families, that's going to be a good selling point. So that was the big day for Chevy today. Their brand new Traverse, they got a lot to offer. Guys, back to you.
I'm Kim DiGiulio here at the North American International Auto Show, and I'm here to tell you that your trip to the auto show starts way before you walk through the doors at Cobo. It starts right now in your app store with the North American International Auto Show app. Everything you could possibly need for auto show, right at your fingertips. Available on iPhones and Androids. Trust me, you're gonna want to keep this app on your homepage. Just search Detroit Auto Show, look for the orange icon, and boom! You're on your way to the latest and greatest in auto show news. How about a list of the car makers and a map of where they're all going to be? Got it. Not only do we have your auto show weather before you travel, we have a personalized forecast for you every single day. Looking for a place to eat after the show? How about a guide to the city? And of course, all of the dates, times, and prices of all the auto show events. And if you want, buy your tickets right through the app. And that's just a taste of what this app can do to let you fully enjoy one of the greatest events that Detroit has to offer. Now you're ready for all of this. Enjoy.
Doors open.
Yeah, that is a sweet concept that they're going to build it. That Lincoln behind her, gorgeous.
Yeah, I see how the doors open. That's that's pretty snazzy.
Floating living room, no doubt about it.
All right, still ahead, it's the annual report that always gets a big reaction from parents. Find out how much it supposedly costs to raise a child born in 2017.
Do you want to know? Also coming up, can you make out the shape of the hole in that windshield? We'll reveal the piece of exercise equipment that did that damage in just a minute. Doc?
A new study shows breast cancer screening is leading to a high rate of overdiagnosis and overtreatment. I'm Dr. Frank McGeorge. Coming up, I'll put some important perspective on the topic.
Jeopardy! New at 6.
Autonomous vehicles, a lot of R&D that the car companies are doing. How do you fund that? Well, you have to sell cars, but how do you strike the balance? We'll take a look ahead at 6.
All right, Rod, also flu cases are climbing across the country. When we'll see a surge in cases here in Metro Detroit, still to come.
But first, in good health, a new study on breast cancer screening suggests it's being overdiagnosed.
And overdiagnosis could be leading to overtreatment for many women. Dr. Frank McGeorge reports from Henry Ford Hospital to put this into some perspective for us. Frank?
Overdiagnosis occurs when a test like a mammogram detects a small cancer that, even if untreated, may never affect a person's health during their lifetime. The problem is overdiagnosis exposes women to potentially harmful treatment without any actual benefit. But many women say that's okay. Felicia Molnar was diagnosed with breast cancer on a routine mammogram.
It really was a shock.
But after a successful lumpectomy,
mine was very treatable and early disease.
A new paper published in the Annals of Internal Medicine suggests between 15 and 39% of localized breast cancers might be overdiagnosed. That wasn't Felicia's case, and she doesn't think of it that way.
I felt really good having it out. I look at the treatment that I had as taking care of myself. I didn't look at it as invasive or overtreatment.
Henry Ford Hospital breast cancer specialist Dr. Lisa Newman has a great perspective.
The concept and concerns about overdiagnosis do not, however, mean that we have reached a point where we can assume that any breast cancer is truly harmless. That would actually be the equivalent of suggesting that it's safe to play with a loaded gun simply because one of the bullets might actually be a blank. Some very tiny breast cancers are still biologically quite aggressive. Catching that cancer at a small size is very favorable.
Early diagnosis is important for saving lives.
Basically, the problem is our ability to find even small harmless cancers has outpaced our ability to tell which ones will turn out to be dangerous or not. But until we can tell, screening, knowing, and treating where necessary is the safest option. Reporting from Henry Ford Hospital, I'm Dr. Frank McGeorge. Back to you.
Great perspective there. All right, Frank. Well, Under Armour is releasing a new line of clothing called Athlete Recovery Sleepwear. But after seeing the commercial, people have taken to calling them Tom Brady pajamas.
How about this? The new video features Brady working out and talking about how sleep is the most important thing in helping his body stay refreshed. He goes on to explain how the fabric in these new PJs is made from bioceramics and infrared wavelengths to help your body recover. If you're interested, the pajamas are on sale now and go for anywhere between $80 and $100, which I've never spent that much on a pair of PJs.
$100 for bioceramic pajamas.
I don't want anything to do with it.